They walked into the room like ghosts from a life I'd buried 15 years ago. My parents, smiling like they'd just found a winning lottery ticket. "We're your guardians," my father said, his hand resting on my mother's shoulder. His voice had the same fake warmth I remembered from the night they left me at the orphanage gate. I didn't respond. I just stared, calm, polite, unreadable. They thought this was their moment of return. They didn't know it was their reckoning. When Aunt Eleanor died, the world felt silent. She was the only one who ever stayed. While my parents chased money, she gave me purpose, discipline, education, control. She used to say, "Revenge is never loud. It's written in silence, on paper." I thought she meant philosophy. Turns out, she meant law. The day her lawyer called, saying she'd left me the mansion and $2 million, I felt guilt before joy. Guilt that I'd inherit from the only person who ever loved me. Joy that she trusted me enough to handle it. But that joy didn't last, because within a week, they found me, my parents. The same people who abandoned me at 13 when debts mounted and I became too expensive. The first call came from a number I didn't recognize. "Sweetheart, it's your mother." Sweetheart. The word cracked like glass. She said she'd seen the obituary, that she and Dad wanted to be there for me, to help with the estate. Help? I almost laughed. They arrived at the mansion before the funeral dust settled. He wore a new watch. She carried designer sunglasses. They'd aged, but their greed hadn't. They looked around the marble hall like scavengers at a feast. "It's too much for you alone," my father said, walking past me. "We'll manage things until you adjust." His tone was casual, rehearsed, as if I was still a naive child he could talk over. I smiled. Let them believe that. The first night they slept in the guest wing, I opened my aunt's study. Inside the mahogany drawer was a sealed envelope addressed to me. Her handwriting was calm, deliberate. "If they ever return, don't confront them. Observe. They will dig their own graves. You just hand them the shovel." And I did. I called my lawyer the next morning. A man Eleanor had trusted for decades, sharp, discreet, deadly in a suit. We went through the will line by line. Everything, the house, the funds, the investments, was in my name alone. But I wanted more than ownership. I wanted closure. So we built a plan. Step 1, access. I let them believe I was overwhelmed. I handed them partial access to a shared estate account, a decoy filled with monitored funds. Within days, they were moving money like sharks in bloodwater. Vacations, jewelry, business expenses. Every transaction logged, every signature traced. Step 2, evidence. I invited them to meetings with the lawyer, recorded every word they said about reclaiming guardianship. They didn't know they were confessing to financial manipulation, intent to defraud, and perjury, all while smiling. Step 3, timing. The will reading. I made sure they thought it was the moment they'd reclaim me, and everything Eleanor left. It was, in truth, the moment they lost everything. They sat beside me in the attorney's office, feigning affection. My mother squeezed my hand. "It's been so long, darling. We can finally be a family again." I let her. The lawyer entered, calm, unreadable, and began reading aloud. When he reached the clause Eleanor added before her death, their faces drained. "In the event that my niece's biological parents attempt to interfere with her inheritance or guardianship, their prior abandonment, substantiated by legal records and personal testimony, shall forfeit any future claim to the estate. They shall be subject to legal action for fraud if such interference occurs." Silence. Then, my lawyer slid the folder across the table. Inside, printed bank records, forged signatures, recordings. My father's hand trembled. "You set us up!" I met his eyes. No, you walked right in. The lawyer cleared his throat. You'll be contacted by the authorities soon. They stood, pale, desperate. My mother whispered, "We're your parents." I whispered back, "Not anymore." They left the room in silence. It was the same silence I'd known the night they drove away 15 years ago. But this time, it was mine, controlled, complete. That evening, I stood on the mansion's balcony, watching the city lights spread across the horizon. The world below moved on, unaware that a quiet war had ended. People say revenge doesn't bring peace. Maybe they're right. But justice, quiet, calculated justice, feels like peace wearing sharper clothes. Aunt Eleanor once told me that forgiveness is for the weak. I understand now she wasn't bitter. She was precise. I walked back inside, the house echoing with new ownership, not just of wealth, but of my past. I didn't need their love anymore. I didn't need their apology.